and welcome back to Lisa Loves and to my what I watched last week. Now this is going from the 30th of March for that week, so let's get this old screen recorder on. Okay, so we left off last time on the 29th of March with The Stylist. The next evening on the 30th, I'm clicking the wrong button, well done Lisa, I watched a movie called Possum. Now this movie's been out quite a while, 2018. This is a really, really weird movie. It's a very heavy movie. It's very symbolic. Very little happens. This movie is about a puppeteer who has obviously had some form of trauma in his life. He goes back to live with his uncle, who is a repugnant, nasty, horrible, horrible man. It's a British movie. We can tell that something has gone on. There's some kind of trauma. There are some scenes near the end of the movie that are, quite grim, but to get there is a very long, laborious, slow journey of this guy basically walking about trying to get rid of this puppet. It must be called Possum, which is basically like a large spider-like creature with a doll's head and body. It does read this little piece of poetry he has written, I think when he was much younger, and some drawings that he has done, which is really, really creepy. I mean, they've got one line here. Can you spy him deep within, little possum black as sin? I feel that this puppet symbolises trauma that he's hiding inside of him, and this movie basically is about him trying to get rid of that. So he keeps taking this puppet, trying to throw it in the river, trying to bury it, trying to burn it, and no matter what he does, it comes back. I think it's meant to be symbolic as to unless he addresses whatever this traumatic issue is, it's going to keep returning. I think it's quite clear from the off that it's got something to do with his uncle. It is very atmospheric. A lot of people will probably really dig this, that like quite arty movies that are into symbolism. For me, it was too slow. I did love the poem. I loved the little book he wrote. I loved where we got to at the end of the movie. But to get there to me was just too much work. It was very slow, very laborious. I gave that a 2 out of 5. But some people will love it. It just wasn't for me. On the 31st, I watched 2 movies. Right, I loved this movie. So this one is going to get overlooked just hideously. It's a Turkish movie. It's called Paper Lives, and it's about a man who basically is on the street. He lives and works from an abandoned building with a lot of like street children and a couple of relatives. He has been on the street and he's trying to help these people. They basically go around and they pick up paper, cardboard, anything recyclable that they can make some money from, and they live in this big abandoned building. It's basically like a slum, and he's basically protective towards all of the kids there. He's trying to sort of give them a place to live, a place to get by, and they all work. He's a decent guy. Now he takes this little boy under his wing that has left his family home, or has been forced to leave his family home. He's actually left in one of the big cardboard collecting bags that the guys use. And this movie is about his relationship with this little boy. Now, if you watch it, if you try to watch it, please do not give up when you start it and you think, oh, this is boring. Watch the lead actor's performance in this. It is stunning. This went somewhere that I did not expect. I did not see this coming. How this ended up, where this wound up, was just fantastic. Very, very moving, fantastic performances. It was brilliant. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I loved it. I just feel really bad that this will be overlooked because firstly, it's a Turkish movie. A lot of people don't like subtitles. And secondly, although I really was enjoying the movie, don't get me wrong, for a lot of people, the payoff will be if you watch all of it, but a lot of people may give up before they get to that point. But I highly recommend this, guys. Paper Lives, check it out. It's on Netflix at the moment. The last movie, Possum, I think I watched that on Amazon Prime. On the same evening as Paper Lives, thank God for Paper Lives because this was dire, I watched Vanishing on 7th Street. So this movie, let me get away. How do I get that over? Thank you. This movie, occasionally before I watch a movie, I will scan down IMDb reviews. I won't read the review, but I'll read the titles of the review. One of the titles for the review of this was, "This makes The Happening look good." I hated The Happening. I thought it was awful. This, I won't say made The Happening look good. I would say it's on a par. It's sort of like level with it. It's not good. This movie's premise is amazing. I love it. All of a sudden, all over the place, there's just crumpled piles of clothes, and all these people have disappeared, and no one knows why. We never find out why. And there are a small group of people that haven't, and they are struggling to stay alive. Now, what they managed to work out is that if they stay in the light, they can't be captured. So when this event happened, maybe one of them was lighting a cigarette. They were somewhere very illuminated. And this is about the darkness trying to capture them, I suppose. The thing about this is the stupidity. I'm just going to tell you one thing. It's not a spoiler because if you read the synopsis, it says, "Stay in the light. A mysterious global blackout yields countless populations to simply vanish, leaving only their clothes and possessions behind. A small handful of survivors band together in a dimly lit tavern on 7th Street. So, they basically are in this pub owned by the mother of a little boy that's there. He survives. And every single light in this place is on. It's running on a generator. There's no electricity. It's complete blackout in the entire city. They've got the jukebox on the whole time. They've got the outside neon flashing lights on the whole time. They've got every light on in the bar, like the ones over the pool table. They're trying to conserve power. They're trying to stay in the light. And they're running a bloody jukebox. It staggered my brain. But I wouldn't recommend that. I give it a 1.5. I did watch it because sometimes people are hard on things that aren't that bad. I thought that was dire. On the 1st of April, I watched The Father. Now, I have been wanting to see this for so long. If anyone watched my top 10 actresses and actors, they would know that Olivia Colman and Anthony Hopkins figure very highly on both of those. Anthony Hopkins is actually my all-time favourite actor. I love him. This is about a man that is of a certain age and he's going through dementia. And it's about his daughter, Olivia Colman's attempt to care for him. Now, this movie is very confusing in places, purposely I feel to make you understand what it is like. What it's like for that person who's suffering from dementia, something that they feel is very real, actually isn't. Scenarios that they believe that have happened, maybe haven't. Things that have happened, they have no idea. It's fantastically acted. Anthony Hopkins is sublime as always. Olivia Colman, fantastic. It was excellent. I wouldn't say I was blown away by it, and I think it's the best movie that we're going to see in 2021. But it's fantastic. It is slow, but if you like a good story and fantastic acting, I would recommend it. Really, with Anthony Hopkins, you can't go wrong. I give that a 3.5 out of 5. I would have expected to be given that maybe a 4 or 4.5 before I saw it with who was in it. It wasn't quite as good as I thought it would be, but don't get me wrong, it was excellent. It was very good. So, on to the next day. Right, people are going to disagree on this one. Shadow in the Cloud. I went into this one not really realising, thinking it was going to be a bit more serious than it was. Now, the only thing I will say about this one is with regards to storyline. If you don't know, if you've seen that very, very famous Twilight Zone episode about the gremlin on the wing of the plane, this is a movie kind of based around the same story. This has got Chloe Grace Moretz as a World War II. She actually is a pilot in her own right. She suffers hideous sexism from the other lads on the plane. They just all sorts of crap that's just skin crawling for most women to have to listen to. She is trying to fly. She has got a package that is top secret. No one's allowed to look in it. No one's allowed to know what's in it. It's top secret. It's to be kept secret. There's one guy on the plane who is decent, who is nice, who takes the bag, who keeps it. I knew what was in the bag within 5 minutes of the bag appearing and I was right. Right. So this is basically about that journey. So Chloe Grace Moretz's character is in, I'm not sure what you call it, the glass dome below the plane that you can like shoot out of, whatever that's called. She's in here for the duration of the journey, and this follows just things that would normally happen in World War II, but slightly otherworldly things happen, and a lot of people really enjoyed this and felt it was like a popcorn flick, felt it was, a fun ride. If you suspend belief completely, there were just some sections in this that were just so ridiculous that, I mean, the acting's fine, the acting's really good, but the paper thin plot in this is just ridiculous. There are a few scenes in this that me and my husband watched this, and in one particular scene, I can't even say without spoiling it for you, we actually both turned to look at each other with like, what the have we just, I mean, really? If you've seen it, kind of to do with a other plane and a kind of an explosion, you'll kind of know what one I mean there. It's just, it's almost like a cartoon playing out as a movie. That's the only way I can explain this to you, because what's happening in front of you is so ridiculous. If you just want to watch a popcorn movie and, you know, take on board all of that with it, then fire away. It just was not for me. Maybe I would give it a 1.5. Maybe if I'd gone into it realising it wasn't to be taken completely seriously and it wasn't scary, or it wasn't... I didn't enjoy it. I know a couple of people did. No, more than a couple, but I know a couple of people, when I said I really didn't like this, both said they did, so maybe it's just me. So the same evening I watched, now this was recommended by Emma from Spooky Astronaut's channel. This I really enjoyed. Again, I know it won't be for everyone. This is a series on Apple TV. Now, I did what Emma suggested. I subscribed for the free trial just to watch this. This is a series. Each episode is about 15 minutes long. I think there were 9 episodes in all. So it says, told through a series of interconnected phone conversations, it chronicles the mysterious story of a group of strangers whose lives are thrown into disarray in the lead up to an apocalyptic event. It's exactly what it says, but there are no physical actors on screen. All you see is like the telephone call on the screen with the words coming up, and like, you know when you speak you get the noise waves that sort of do this. That's all you see on the screen, and it's like different colours. I love this. You could listen to this in bed, or you could as a podcast. You don't need to physically see anything. It's very easy to watch though, 15 minutes long each, 9 of them. I watched it in one evening, and I really, really enjoyed it. The selection of voice actors on here was just, it doesn't give them. If you look it up on IMDb, I mean, the voice actors are all really famous actors. Fantastic, really well done, really well voice acted. Check it out. 3.5 out of 5. So the next evening, oh god, right, I need all day. I considered doing a separate review on this, but I'm not going to, because I know people just may not agree with me, and I can't be bothered with the hate that it will bring. But let me talk about Violation. I've watched a few reviews about this, and a lot of people were quite bothered about one particular thing in this movie. So this is a rape revenge movie of sorts. Now, for the first start off, let me tell you, I don't like these movies. They make me feel very uncomfortable. They make me squirm. I don't enjoy them. That's a personal thing. But what made me watch this was directed by 2 ladies who wanted to do something from a woman's perspective that was very different to the usual like I spit in your grave type things we've had in the past. And boy, did they do something completely different with it. Now, from the get-go, let me tell you, I think this film is very clever. I really liked what they did. I thought what they did was fantastically effective from a female perspective. But all anyone wants to talk about is the fact that we've got a male penis on screen. Just pardon me having to say these things if you're of a gentler nature than possibly I am. An erect penis on screen for a long, extended period of time. And this isn't normally something we see on movies. Now, what the directors in this movie wanted to do was deliberately have a male in a vulnerable position, fully naked, while the woman was fully clothed. Purely because in movies it's generally the other way around. It's the woman naked, we see everything, close-ups of everything we don't need to see to tell the story. She wanted to show this from the other side. And every man that has seen this, oh my god, no, what? I don't want to look at this, what's this, what's that? Guys, us women watch that constantly, this is how it is for us. But it's interesting to see everyone's reaction to having to look at a man naked, just for no particular reason. Also, the female character that plays the lead has been described by people that watched the movie as dowdy, unattractive, scruffy, didn't dress well. This was purposeful. This actually is one of the women responsible for writing and directing this movie that starred in it herself. They didn't want to pick a woman that looked unlike normal women. They didn't want to pick a woman that looked like a model. They wanted to pick a woman that looked like you or me, if you're a woman watching this. A normal, just bog standard average looking girl that didn't tart herself up to go out and have a weekend with her mates at a cabin in the woods type thing. It's believable. The actual rape scene itself, if you're female and you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't know if I want to watch that, it's very tastefully done. We don't get any body parts on show. We don't get a lot of the sort of gross brutality we get in a lot of movies, but it really does still put you inside her head. We get close-up shots of her face, or in one scene her hand and a little insect has landed on her finger and she's trying to bring herself out of the moment and what's happening, and she's concentrating on this little like fly. It's beautifully done, and it is trying to put you inside the woman's head. It's not trying to do this, let's be as horrific as we possibly can and show women's bits, and it's not trying to do that. It's trying to do something in a different way, and a way that I personally felt really worked as a woman. It also has one of the best, in my opinion, can I say this without spoiling it? There is a scene that involves special effects too, as a matter of fact. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will put a timestamp just when I'm about to talk about something that's a bit spoilery that happens in the movie. If you don't want to know, I will put a timestamp to where you can jump to when I've finished. So if you're still here, I'm about to give you a kind of a spoiler for the movie. So basically, this woman is raped by a man that is supposed to be a friend, that her sister doesn't believe her, thinks she's making things up for attention. The movie does jump about a bit in different time for, it doesn't run completely concurrently. This is the guy that she has in the chair where we see what we see. That has disturbed a lot of people. So she kind of like tortures him, and not tortures, she kills him, to be quite blunt. And she hangs him upside down from the beams and she cuts his throat. She stabs his throat and he bleeds into a cooler. Now this is so well done, so realistically done, it's unreal. But what the directors wanted to actually do was to have the character realise the brutality of what they were doing. And they had her drink a concoction of egg whites and a couple of other things, followed by a pint of salt water, which immediately evoked vomiting. So during this scene where this guy's hung upside down, draining into a cooler, she's vomiting, and she's vomiting for real. And it's gross, but it's trying to convey to you that this normal woman and what she's been through and what she's just done, she realises the grotesqueness of what she's just done. And then she dismembers him. Now, it doesn't show very much of this. It shows her cutting a leg off at the thigh. But, guys, I don't know what the hell special effect they used for this, but it is so realistic looking. I don't know how it's incredibly well done. As I say, there isn't a lot of special effects in this. There is just him having his throat cut and then this cutting off of his leg. She has to get rid of his body, but it's so well done. I was mouth open watching this. Right, spoilers over. So yeah, I personally, I don't like to use the word enjoyed, but I felt this movie done something for rape revenge movies from a female perspective was just extremely well done. Ending on the note that it doesn't matter what you do. They seem to think in rape revenge movies that when the woman gets her revenge, the trauma is gone, it's over, she's satisfied, she's had her revenge. But in reality, that's not the case. I don't think it matters what you do. That trauma of that event will never leave you, and this very much comes across in the movie, and something that generally doesn't. So I personally am going to thoroughly recommend this. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was difficult to watch in places for sure, but a really cleverly done rape revenge movie from a female perspective. I really liked what they did. I appreciated what they did and why they did it. And that's from the viewpoint of someone that just generally does not like that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm ever going to get one of these done without the battery in my camera on a night, every time. So anyway, Violation, I spoke about that for too long. I felt really strongly about it, so yeah, that's my viewpoint. I know a lot of people aren't liking it. I personally was one of the ones that did. On the same evening, I watched Killer Joe. Now, let me say before I start, Matthew McConaughey's in this as Killer Joe and he's fabulous. But he's the most repugnant, nasty, horrible character. I just hated him. I hated the bones of him in this, which means they must have done something right. Gina Gershon is in this. I absolutely love Gina Gershon. I always have. I think she's a fabulous actress. I think she's underutilised. I think she's generally used in quite sexual things. Obviously she's a very beautiful woman, but I would like to see her used more as a serious actress because she's fabulous in my opinion. We also have Emile Hirsch and Thomas Hayden in this one as well. So this is a movie about a, well, I don't like to use the word hick, but that's what they use in the movie. A hick family who decide they need to come up with a lot of money to cover the son's debts to, I think, drug dealers in the area because they're going to kill him if he doesn't come up with this money. His father is remarried to Gina Gershon's character. The whole family hate the mother. The mother apparently is a really, really nasty piece of work. He also has a sister. So the sister and the brother live with the father and the father's new wife in a trailer, as far as I'm aware. They decide that they need to kill the mother and collect her insurance money. I won't tell you any more about the script than that because I don't want to spoil anything. But obviously Matthew McConaughey in this is Killer Joe, so this is how he comes into it. This one does have a few twists and turns, which I thought were really good, were really effective. I did see them coming. I did know what was going to happen. I think it was a bit apparent for people that watch a lot of movies. I think a casual film watcher probably will be completely blown away and won't see it coming, but I know you guys that are watching this, like me, watch a lot of movies, so you'll probably know where we're going to go with this. But after having watched Violation and everything I said about female representation in movies and how in some cases if we have an attractive woman in a movie it's completely impossible for them to get to the end of that movie without you being shown all of her, even if it's for no reason. And let me say again, I have no issue with nudity if it's required, if it's needed, if it's part of the script. But as a woman, I'm getting really sick of watching movies and not being able to get to the end without seeing everything a woman has to offer. If it's, I mean, we open this'll get you to watch it. I mean, we have Gina Gershon open a door in a t-shirt with no bra, with nipples the size of I don't know what, that we see from a mile off, with no pants on, and we are eye level with the fact she's got no pants on from the front. We also do get a view from the back. There's boobs, there's bum, there's everything. And the thing is, in pretty much every case, it's not needed as part of the story. There is one specific scene with the young sister in it. She seems a bit innocent, a bit backwards. I don't know what way to put that without it coming out wrong, but she obviously is very naive and not a woman of her age. And it's a very, very cringeworthy scene in that goes on for too long with Matthew McConaughey and her, and I could not be dealing with it. It was just cringesome to the extreme. This movie was good. The acting was fantastic. The storyline was really solid. I did like it. I'm just going through this phase where I'm getting really sick of constantly seeing naked women for no reason. Especially since when Violation was released and we got about, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute of a man's bits, everybody's shouting about it, but yet we can get women naked constantly and everyone laps it up. I don't get that. I don't understand. People say, well, women are nice to look at and men aren't. Well, maybe don't all feel that way. Maybe we need to see more naked men. Or rather, maybe we only need to see nudity where it makes sense, where we need to see it. Does that make sense? You're all sitting there thinking, here's a prude that just doesn't like looking at naked women on screen. No, not at all. I went to the cinema to see Showgirls. Oh my God. In Northern Ireland, I'm getting completely off track here. In Northern Ireland, there are political parties. There's one called the DUP. You probably know who they are by now. They protested against this movie being released and they were outside the cinema with placards, a bit like Father Ted, down with this sort of thing. I went on purpose to Belfast to see this because I knew they were doing it, and I thought, I'm going to get on TV giving it a bit of what for to these people for protesting. So no, I've no issue with nudity. This movie was about Showgirls, if you've seen it, and it gets slated, and I don't really understand why, because I thought it was okay. It's like Saturday Night Fever, but with women. in a strip club. I liked it. What can I say? So no issue with nudity here, just not in every movie for no reason. You know what I mean? It just cheapens it. So anyway, Killer Joe, I would recommend. Most people won't be as put out by this as me. It's just because I've watched so many movies in a row where it's like, oh, right, how long are we going to wait till her top comes off? Oh, there we go. It's off. Oh, there's her bum, there's her front bum, whatever you want to call it. I'm not using any more crude words on this channel. Yeah. Welcome to the world of being a woman. Right, and the following evening, and the last movie I watched was last night. I really enjoyed this. This is called 66. This is a British movie. You will recognise so many of the characters in this if you're from the UK. Helena Bonham Carter's in there, Eddie Marr's in, Greg Sulkin, Catherine Tate, we all know Catherine Tate, Jack Watkins. The list just goes on and on of people you will go, oh, him! So this is about a young boy's bar mitzvah, which is due to be held. Unfortunately for him, it turns out that it's 1966 and England have made the World Cup final. And his bar mitzvah, which is meant to be the most important day in a Jewish boy's life. And his brother had one, there were 200 guests, and this young lad is obsessed that his is going to be like massive. He's been planning this for years. He's a nerd at school, he's never picked for football. He's just not, he doesn't have a lot of friends. He's just a boy that needs attention and isn't getting it. And he is looking forward to his bar mitzvah to be the centre of attention. It's his world. And the World Cup happens, and every match that happens, the young boy then gets obsessed with football, trying to work out what's going to happen next, what country's got a bigger chance of winning. And inevitably, as we know, England made the World Cup final, and everyone starts cancelling on this little boy's bar mitzvah. It made me cry in places. It's really funny as well. It's very, very typical English humour, British humour, should I say. I know that doesn't translate everywhere. Let me just switch this off. I know it doesn't translate everywhere, but if you're British and you're used to British humour and how, you will get it, you will enjoy it, you'll get the references. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a real, it's a real little gem that I don't think a lot of people know about. It's just come onto Netflix very recently. Let me put this out there, hate football. I cannot bear football. I do not enjoy watching football. When I was a kid, up until about the age of 15, I loved football. I was a big Liverpool supporter. People say, why? You're from Northern Ireland. Why don't you? Because the teams here are crap. Let's be honest. I don't go into the whole Rangers Celtic thing because that's just about religion. My team was Liverpool. I was obsessed. It was in the John Barnes, Peter Beardsley era, in case you're interested, in case you like football. And John Barnes and Peter Beardsley as a pair were just sublime on the football pitch. So I do know about football, I do understand the offside rule, all of that crap, but I no longer enjoy football because I dated someone who was obsessed and who supported Manchester United, incidentally, so that wasn't the best match, was it? And basically, it just constantly on the screen. If I ever see Mark Hughes score another overhead goal in my life, it will be too soon. My husband is a massive football fan. He is a Bradford City supporter. He's from Yorkshire, from Bradford, so, forgive him for that, Bradford City. But it's just, football's been overdosed for me. Too much of it and it put me right off. But this movie, you do not need to be a football fan to enjoy it. If you're English, you will no doubt feel a great deal of nostalgia. I'm not English and I don't like football, and it was moving for me. They put clips in there of the final. Of them, lifting the trophy and stuff, intermingled, and you got like news reports and pictures and stuff, and it wasn't really moving movie. But thoroughly recommend 66. Check it out. It is a true story. The actual director of this is his story as a little boy. He did change the end. He said he gave it the end that he would have liked to have really happened, which wasn't what happened. But the story about the World Cup final and his bar mitzvah and his uncle and his brother and the whole family dynamic, that's all true. So yeah, check it out. Well worth it. This is probably so much longer this week than I wanted it to be because I went off on one about Violation. But let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Any recommendations for me this week to watch? Anything major coming out that I should check out? Let me know in the comments. Over and out from Lisa Loves.